Welcome again to What's Up Neighbors with Pam and Linda.
We're back! Welcome to What's Up Neighbors with Pam and Linda. Yeah. Hey, listen, this is our first show since the spring.
No, how much time has gone by?
I know. But listen, you just got back from a fabulous biking trip throughout Europe.
It was
You went to
pretty-
all, like
pretty
5
great.
countries or something?
We did.
Yeah,
we
unfortunately, my summer was spent after Mother's Day. John got shingles.
Oh,
Listen, viewers, you don't want that. He still has them, kind of. It's been over 5 months. So we didn't really have a summer vacation, but I lived vicariously through your pictures, so that was perfect.
well, it was a fabulous getaway.
But listen, we're in San Marino, where we lived for 20 years, and it's so exciting because we're going to be interviewing Mitch Lehman, who is managing editor of the San Marino Tribune. Mr. San Marino, he knows everybody. We're really excited to talk to him.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? We've really missed you, and we are so happy to be back.
Yeah.
San Marino is a beautiful location.
Oh, it's gorgeous, I know. So right now we're going to turn the tables on Mitch. He's always interviewing people, and now we're going to interview him. So why don't you join us as we go upstairs?
And on with the show.
Yes, great. Okay, so let's go
Here
find
we are.
Mitch. I'm so excited. Okay. After you.
Okay. Oh, Mitch. Oh, Mitch.
Great. We're here with Mitch Lehman, managing editor.
Pronounced properly, by the way, which it often is not, but
Thank
it's
you
very
very-
good.
thank
That's
you
right.
very
Thank
much.
you. Layman, not Mitch. It's pretty easy.
We're here with Mitch, and we're so excited. I've known him for 20 years. As I mentioned at the beginning, our family lived in San Marino for 20 years. And you know, the thing to do really is read the San Marino Tribune. It's not anything else. So Linda and I are really excited that we're here to interview Mitch.
And Mitch, today we're turning the tables on you, because today Pam and I are going to be asking the questions,
I know.
and you're going to be the one that's going to be giving us
no
the
pressure.
answers.
I think I'm a lot better interviewer than interviewee, but we'll see. We'll let the audience judge, right?
The audience, I love when we have our audience. Okay, so Mitch, you're known as Mr. San Marino. We all know that. You're such an influencer, and the funny thing is, influencer is a buzzword nowadays in media. So, in one word, what's your secret?
Presence, Presence, not TS.
Okay,
but
and why is that?
Being there. That's really what it's all about. It's about, being in different places and going there. I hate to say this, I'm going to make it sound like the best compliment I ever received. It makes it sound like I receive a lot of them, and I really don't. But someone once said, you're a man of the people. And I thought it's a really nice thing. Because
That's really
I'm
nice.
with the kids, and I go to games, and I.
You do?
Yeah, so
I love that.
around the people.
Not
so
only that, I mean, going to
Great.
games is transgressing a little bit, but don't you have a booth that's been named after you? I mean, the Mitch Lehman booth at
Well, wait a minute,
the Spartan football games?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. That is great.
Well, we're the Titans, and we're going to play the Spartans this week.
Oh, yeah.
Yes!
But yeah, so the
That's the locking out of Spartans.
Yeah.
that's right.
Okay.
The press box 5 years ago was named Layman's Loft in
just
my
love that.
honor,
Oh, my
acknowledging
gosh.
my
Weren't you
work.
flattered?
So you are the voice
Yeah.
of the Titan football team, is that correct?
Several, I do football, basketball, baseball, soccer,
Yeah.
volleyball.
Wow, you do it all.
I
Oh
know.
my goodness.
That's great. That's a real honor.
Pam was talking to you about being an influencer, but quick question to you is, who's really influenced you in your life? In one word or less. No.
yeah, that's a one-word question.
Right.
A lot of different people, I believe, should be an amalgam of a lot of different
Is there
people.
somebody on top of that
Yes.
list?
And so there was a man in the community where I grew up. I still happen to be best friends with his son. And back in Ohio is where I'm from.
Oh,
And he was the commandant of the local state highway patrol. And he died very suddenly. I happened to be very, very close to the family at the time. And when he had quit the state highway patrol, he started just announcing sporting events in our town. And I was a 7th, 8th, 9th grader, and he would come and announce, freshman basketball games and whatever. And I remember the impact it had on our town. It was a long time ago, too, and it was hard to do. Rosters weren't available online. You had to go down and write them down.
Right.
And I remember how much that impacted me, my family, other kids in my school. And cut to 20, 30 years later,
That's a great story.
This started when you were 12 or 13 years old.
middle school kid, yeah.
Wow.
No kidding.
And I was so impressed with his effort to do that and how it affected me as someone who was playing the sports and hearing our names called, and we really enjoyed it.
Great. Oh my God. And you
when
still
I
keep up with the family?
I do, yeah.
That's great.
Well, when I came to San Marino, I had an opportunity to start announcing some of the games here. It's something I volunteer, as did he. I don't get paid for it, but it's probably, it's my chief hobby. And so he's somebody who, by donating that time,
I like that.
really, they say pay it forward, pay
Right.
it back or whatever.
And what's his name again?
Ken Dukes is his
Dukes.
name.
And does he
Great.
know that you're doing this
He
today?
passed
No, he
away.
passed away.
Yes.
No, but I mean his son.
Yes, the family knows all
That's
about
great.
it.
So his
Yeah.
lives on.
Your legacy
That's
through you,
great.
Yeah,
basically.
I guess so.
Very cool.
So, I've known you a long time, and you've covered our daughter's sports and all that for almost 25 years?
24 years.
Yeah, I saw 24,
Wow.
but almost 25. So, in one word, what makes, in one word,
The person in the world
Right,
least capable of one word answer. I get 2 or 3 of them. Try to get 3 in. Here's another one. Okay, go ahead. I'll do my best.
so in one word, what makes you stay in this community?
Boy, I wish I would have had time to think about that.
No, that's why we purposely didn't tell you.
That's a really, really tough one.
2 words.
It just
How about 3?
a sense of
so
duty.
final offer.
Duty, I was going to say.
Duty.
I very much enjoy doing this.
I
And,
love that word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think
That's
that
great.
I think that people like I won't say repetition, but they like something that's comfortable
Yeah.
and that they can depend on. And so I kind of hope that they can go to a game, pick up the paper, and depend on reading something or hearing something that they kind of are comfortable
I
with.
love that word duty. And speaking of the newspaper, here's the San Marino Tribune, which Mitch and his crew publish.
As
they,
well
they
as
also
the
in the South
Quarterly.
Pasadena Review and the Quarterly they publish. So it's big business over here in San Marino. That's great.
Yeah, no, Mitch, this is probably a hard question, so we'll let you have 5 words to answer this one.
Oh wow!
But what inspired you to go into journalism?
Boy, nothing. I was.
That's one word.
Yeah, it
right.
sure is.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you this: I have advanced attention deficit disorder, and I have all my life. And back in our day, there was no diagnosis for it. There was no really cure for it. There was no, I was just kind of like a bad kid, or kind of like a, we were called hyperactive, sort of. And so I struggled in education, even though I felt I had some level of intelligence. But when it came to like math and science and things like that, I could not, go through like the procedural part of those, like, the day to day to day, and build on one part of math and then the other. My mind was always kind of just swimming around. But the one thing that I could do was be an English major. And so one of the things about being an English major is there really is no right answer. You can, as long as you prove to your teacher and professor that you've read the material, sometimes they're looking for different interpretations. They like things that are different,
Sure.
and they
Outside
know,
of the box.
yeah, they know you didn't read the Cliff Notes.
Right.
And so English,
I did.
even though I didn't really like it or love it, it became the way that I could at least, I won't say excel, but at least get through education. So
That's great.
I
So
kind of
that's
became a
great.
writer through that.
Yeah, I love
That's
that.
an inspiration to maybe other kids that are listening to this broadcast, and they can, they see a future.
Yeah, I speak a lot at like career days and things
Right.
like that, and especially like Huntington Middle School. And it's one of the things I kind of lead with. I want them to know that no matter what their certain educational, toolbox is like, that they can find something to make, to get it to work. Because a lot of kids, when they're diagnosed, now they're very, very frustrated.
Right.
They think that they have no, real future. And there is one for kind of anything we get.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you for sharing that with us, because that's really special. So
Well, on just piggybacking on that, you said you went to career day. Do you have any advice for kids that might be listening to this and saying, "Oh, I really want to go into journalism, but it's changing. It's not what it was yesterday." Should I pursue it or should I not pursue it?
Yeah, it really is a tough field right now. I don't know if I were, starting over again, if I would, pursue it as like my main focus. But I would certainly do it as kind of like a minor or some kind of an elective or something like
Right.
that, and have that as a skill, because I think that there's always going to be some need for a real journalist and someone who can,
Right.
tell things the way that they really are. So
Yeah.
but boy, it is really tough because everybody thinks they're a journalist now. Just pop on Facebook
Yeah,
anytime.
I know.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
That's
I'm
Well,
coming
look
in with the
at
entire-
us.
Exactly.
Started with it. What is one? You've written so many incredible stories, and thank you again for writing that story on me. People talked about it, and it was just very I felt very honored that you would write about that. But what is one story that has really, in all your years, has really moved you? It sticks out in your mind.
Many have. There's a young man right now who, very currently, and his name is Ray Cheng, R-A-Y-E is how he spells his first name. And he was an athlete at San Marino High School. He's about 4'6", 4'7", when he was an 8th and 9th grader. And I really admired watching him compete as, such a smaller young man. And in a story, I've written a couple stories about him in the last couple of years. And he talked about how he was very, kind of concerned if he was ever going to grow. His family wondered if he should take growth hormones, and they decided not to. They looked around, and their entire family had been late bloomers. And so Ray was a volleyball player and a soccer player at San Marino High
That's
School.
amazing, volleyball.
Yeah, volleyball.
Wow.
Then he played the front row, and actually, so he grew about 5'8", 5'9", and he was received a commission to the United States Army into West
you're
Point.
kidding.
And he got to West Point, and he was disqualified immediately due to an allergic reaction he had over the summer. And so he had to overcome this huge kind of a hit to his life and his plans and whatever. And how he responded to that, I think, is more of a lesson to people than how he got in. So here's a guy who overcame barrier after barrier after barrier. He kind of gets in. It looks like he's got this kind of smooth sailing ahead, and all of a sudden he gets another, kind of a hit like this. And
You
so
wrote a story on him, right?
Yeah.
I think that's why I recognize his name. Yeah, that was very moving.
Yeah,
very
it's
moving.
very, very
I like
impactful
that.
to me as well.
Oh my gosh, that's a great story. I liked when you said that.
Yeah, I know you've been in this community for 24 years, and I'm sure you've seen numerous changes along the way. What are some of the biggest changes you've noticed about San Marino as a community?
Yeah, one of them I actually kind of like. So, some of them are, they might be negative or whatever. People are wonderful here, by the way, and I really enjoyed that. And I remember when I started working here, somebody said, "You're going to work in San Marino. These people, they're going to eat you up and spit you out." I think they kind of have this. San Marino have this reputation because of the one nasty lady at the dry cleaners who cuts in front of them in line or something. But that's everywhere.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to.
But the people here have just been wonderful, and I really, really enjoy them. One of the things that has really changed, and it's some good and some a little bit negative, but a lot of community involvement, and that's real good. But I think a lot of people are getting involved in things, and they don't really know what they're talking about, and so there's a lot of narrative out there that I don't think is real. And so, this is what we're talking about, how everybody seems to be a journalist right now or whatever. Well, it's kind of a challenge. It's great that people get involved. The best thing about it is San Marino people are getting involved. The worst thing about it is San Marino people are getting involved. But it really is. It's a good thing. It's kind of in a transitional phase right now. And I think that, probably in the next year or two, things will kind of shake out a little bit.
Great. Okay, our last question.
Ooh.
So.
One word answer?
Yes.
I think I might let you.
It might be no.
And we want it in sign language, please.
Okay.
Yes.
What? Okay, so it's our secret, but what can people do to get you to cover a story about them for their event? And then I brought donuts for you.
Yeah. Donuts is good.
Yes, okay.
My one word answer to most everything is donuts.
Donuts.
Oh,
Okay.
Here we go.
Just contact the Tribune. It's not. It's kind of interesting. Can I explain this? It's kind of funny, but just about everywhere I go, and I talk to people, everybody has a story that they think is the best story, and they're right. It is the best story, and it's something that they're very, very interested in. I've got 50 stories that I can't get to right now. And so I'll go to City Club tonight, which is tonight at San Marino Center, and 5 people will come up to me in the buffet line and say, "Hey, my neighbor," and I have to try to remember all these things. I don't really remember them all. So I do ask people, the one thing I do ask for is, get the information to me, be it email or drop by a note or something like that, because I won't rember. Remember, I got ADD,
Right.
so I won't remember it necessarily. So, but a lot. That's the key. Is if you want something, make sure you call me, email it, drop something by, because I'll see people at that dry cleaner line, and they'll say, "Hey, you should do a story about." I forget about it.
Right.
Well, why don't you repeat where? I'm sure everybody in San Marino knows where you're located, but why don't you repeat where you're located, just so
2650 Mission Street, right across the street from Julienne, right above PM Chicoy, and right above Port of Call.
Yeah.
And so you're
Right in the
stuff.
center of the
That's
activity.
great.
Yeah.
Well, San Marino is so lucky to have you. I mean, you are. I mean, it's so exciting that you've got that booth on the field named after you, and you're known as Mr. San Marino, and people, hunt you down wherever they go, like you said in the buffet line. But thank you for also sharing a personal side of you as well. This is great, not only about the community, because really, you are so loved by everyone, and we feel honored that you would take the time, because
Really?
the press month, we got to get that paper out. And he's sitting interviewing with us.
This is
So
fabulous.
thank you, Mitch,
Thank
so
you.
much. Good to see
It's
you.
a pleasure to meet you.
And
Thank
remember,
you.
Mitch Lehman of the managing
Very
editor
welcome.
of the San Marino Tribune. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.